Okay. We are live. Hello. Hello and welcome into Buffalo Plus presented by Connors and Ferris. Mike Catalana, Dan Fates is at the Amherst game. I'm Jenna Cottrell. We are breaking down the NFL schedule release. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. We just got the schedule. Obviously, we had it a little bit ahead of time. Mike, I want to start with your thoughts, and I just also want to welcome everyone to the chat. If you have a question, if you have a comment, if you have a concern, if you have anything at all, be sure to drop it in the chat and we'll maybe answer some questions as well. But I want to start with overall reaction, the Bills 2025 schedule. What do you make of it?
It was laid out by the team. If they could create this schedule
what do you mean?
To say, let's lay this thing out in the best way possible. They split up those really tough home games. I mean, they've got Baltimore early, Kansas City in the middle, Philly towards the bottom. Only two times do they have even back-to-back, no three road games in a row. The buys at a good time, relatively early-ish.
Yeah,
right?
week 7.
Yeah. So, okay. It depends on what's going on during your year. I think it is, it's a mix of some night games, a lot of 425s. I think I counted how many? 7 1 o'clocks?
Yeah.
Yeah. So 10 non-1 o'clocks. When I say the team, I think when they look at this, they go, it's a pretty good schedule.
I would agree. Okay, so no international. We had speculated about that earlier in the week. And no holiday games.
Yes.
I am honestly shocked by that.
I'm stunned. I'm with you. I thought, they love to put big time teams in those moments that, Netflix and Amazon paying a lot of money. They're not giving them Carolina, New Orleans. Okay. They want, and Kansas City continues to be that team. They give them a lot. And who is it? You said Detroit is playing both Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yeah.
I actually thought the way it was mapping out, I thought it could be Eagles Bills on Christmas.
I also could have seen that being the matchup.
Because I saw the Eagles had a Saturday game the week before. That had already come out. And I'm like, okay, if they're playing Saturday, but that's not the case for either one of them. So I don't know. Maybe some of you wanted a holiday game.
I mean, real quick too. I don't know if you saw because you were driving. Did you see that the Chiefs are the game the Chargers play in Brazil?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it's the Brazil game. It's Christmas.
It's a lot
for the Chiefs. It's a lot of Chiefs.
And I think they have 6 primetime games in the first 8 weeks or something.
It's a little much.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Hear me out. I do love a 1 o'clock time slot, 1,000%. That's the sweet spot in terms of my opinion.
Right.
But when you have the NFL MVP, I guess I expected there on the holidays, maybe international. I just figured they would be more of a focal point. I feel like early in the year, you have Monday or Sunday night football, 2 Thursday night footballs, but I kind of expected a little bit more spotlight for the Bills, if we're being honest.
Well, it's a pretty big game to start the season.
Agreed. 1,000%.
I mean, that is Ravens, Bills, Buffalo, Sunday night football, that first weekend. I think that is that's a huge spot for them. And then come right back with a Thursday night game in 2 weeks with Miami. Then you got New England. I mean, that's what the Bills used to be for other teams, like New England. It's like, oh, they got New England. They've got a Monday night game. So New England's getting a Sunday night game, give them a little shine early on. But it's because the Bills are the big dog. And then Atlanta Monday night. So that tells you it's a 7:15 game, which means that's a Monday night doubleheader.
Yeah.
We are our TV job. We are an ABC station. Not great for us because we'd love to have the Bills game. I'll still get a million calls and emails. Why aren't you showing the Bills game? Yes, we wouldn't show the Bills
Believe
game.
it or not, that is not our decision.
It's ABC, ESPN's decision. But better for you guys watching at home or us to be at the game because the game starts earlier. But anyhow, I'm with you on that. I mean, listen, it's like you said, it's Josh Allen, and the Bills have been money in all these spots. They have them, but yeah, they went to the well with a lot of the same teams, including Kansas City again. And then the funny thing about that is Bills in Kansas City is, I mean, I said this the other day. I mean, that's the sweet spot. 425
Yeah.
CBS game.
Yeah, that's
That game
fair.
will do,
Okay,
huge.
Man of War, thank you. They gave us a super tip.
Oh, great.
Looks like 2 band players won't be missed too much in the first 6 games. So that is kind of an interesting. Now, also, because the week 7 bye where it lands, those players aren't coming back to the team. They won't be eligible to play until week 8.
Yeah. I guess it gives them that week to, I mean, they've been out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also I know what you're saying is they won't be missed too much. Yeah, you could say that. I mean, you got Baltimore right off the bat, and then we'll see what happens. Honestly, the end of the schedule to me is pretty manageable for the Bills.
I would agree with
I
that.
won't say easy because it's the NFL.
I was saying you have the Eagles in there.
You do, but you have, after you do the Houston game, and we don't know what Pittsburgh's going to be, right? I think people still assume it's, he still hasn't said anything, Rodgers. So in terms of what they have at quarterback, because that game, is listed as a 425 CBS game.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's listed as what it is. So I think the networks are hedging. Like Pittsburgh's always pretty good.
Yeah.
They're a good draw, and maybe they have that at quarterback. But then you've got Cincy at home, at New England, at Cleveland. The Eagles game is week 17, which surprised me. And then the Jets game, which is the final scheduled football game ever at Highmark Stadium.
Yes. So I know there was the point out there that the first ever game at Highmark Stadium was against the Jets.
Yeah.
The last scheduled home game for the regular season is at the Jets, or is against the Jets, excuse me. You would like to think, though, that the Bills will be hosting the AFC Championship game as well.
Do you know what the name of the place was when it opened? Oh, I shouldn't even say that it opened. I think it was right from the beginning, but when the Bills were in the Super Bowl back in the day.
No, it wasn't the Rich.
Yeah.
Oh,
Rich Stadium.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I didn't know. And then it became Ralph Wilson Stadium.
Yeah. The Rich, the Ralph, and then.
Well, the Ralph was rich. So, but it's the Rich family. It was a different one. But, yeah, that's the way it ends. Honestly, you have some very difficult games. We already knew this with very good teams, but you have them at home.
And they're spaced out.
And then the travel schedule is elite for this year.
Yeah.
For the team, especially. It is limited. When I say elite, I mean it is not as taxing as it is. Last year, twice to the West Coast and Houston. This time, the one trip to Houston. And like you said, and they're spread out. All these games are spread out.
There's no 3 road games in a row. That's huge. That's something that teams will look at. I do want to read Dan. I asked him to tell us his thoughts, and he already tweeted it out. So, in true Dan Fates fashion, his thoughts: welcome to the 425 time slot.
Right.
4 of the first 5 games are home.
Yeah.
No 3-game road stretch.
Yep.
Slightly early bye. Final 2 games in Orchard Park. Sure. And we know Dan was also very jazzed.
Yes.
About the no holiday games.
Yes. I mean, he's got the kids and the family, and hey, listen, I'm happy there's no holiday games either.
Oh, yeah. So this is really nice. Jonathan Sturlis saying a super tip. I enjoy the broadcast equally for entertainment and content. I'll buy merch next. Shout out to Buffalo Plus store.
There we go.
Keep up the great work. Love all 3 personalities. Much love, John Sturlis.
Oh,
Corning,
great.
New York. Unafraid to use my real name. John, thank you. Also love Corning, New York.
Yeah.
I used to live in Elmira, so we would go over to the big city of Corning quite a bit.
That's it.
But yeah,
Corning
thank
glass.
you, John. We appreciate that. Yeah.
So thank you very much. We do appreciate that. And so when I'm looking at the schedule and the way it bounces a little bit, I'm going to say, okay, playoff team or playoff level team and non-playoff team, right?
Mm-hmm.
Playoff, then Jets, non. Dolphins, possibly. New Orleans, non. New England, they hope, even if you give them more of a push this year, I don't know about Atlanta at all. They may be playing a rookie. Carolina, probably better, but non-playoff team.
Yeah.
Seems like. Then you have Kansas City. The Miami, Tampa, Houston, Pittsburgh. To me, and Cincinnati. That's the stretch. On the road at Miami, home with Tampa, at Houston, at Pittsburgh, Cincinnati. It's not the murderer's row like they had last year.
Yeah.
But those are good teams. But I'm saying is there really isn't. The closest thing you get to where you look and say, who is, I guess it would be at Houston, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati. I mean, Cincinnati didn't make the playoffs. We don't know if Pittsburgh has a quarterback, and Houston's good. So, I would say this is very manageable.
I feel like if you're Sean McDermott, you're like, all right, we can do this. Like,
yeah,
it's like you said, the really seemingly challenging games are spread out. The one thing that does stick out though, and I know how much the players don't like the Thursday night football, having multiple Thursday night footballs. Now you get the rest on the back end, but also at the same point, that is a challenge for any team, let alone doing it twice. I know that for the players kind of sticks out in their mind, but yeah, overall, I feel like this does shake out well for the Bills. Again, we already knew there wasn't going to be extended travel, like deep West Coast trips, and obviously not being international plays into that as well. So this season and how things kind of shape up, I am interested though in, and just like looking at some of the other schedules for teams. I had someone, Dan Quechin, ask, is there any teams that get a bye week before playing us? Now I just looked at the Chiefs. The Chiefs have the bye right after that Bills game. So the bye is not before it for Kansas City, which is a good thing. But in terms of other games, like I can't imagine Philly. When is Philly's bye? I can't imagine.
I think it's like week 9. Yeah.
Like I'm trying to think who else you'd be like, oh, you really need to make sure. Maybe Houston. Let me see Houston.
Yeah, check that one. While you're doing that, I'm looking. So the Thursday games. So you got the two of them. You've got the one against Miami. So they're on the road, but it's only at the Jets on a Sunday, 1:00 the week before. And it's they come home. They're playing at home, and then they're home the next. They get the 10 days before they play again a home game, and then your other Thursday game, they're home against Tampa, travel to Houston. That is, that's a short week with a Thursday game. That's tough. We'll check what Houston. You're saying checking what Houston has on the 13th.
The Texans have their bye week 6.
And who do they play on the 13th? Just curious if they're home
on the 13th of
November. Oh no, it wouldn't be the 13th of November. It would be the 16th of November.
The 16th of November, they play the Titans at home.
At home. So they're home, and then 4 days later they play at home again. The Bills are home, but just a travel in between. So
I'm sorry. They are away.
Okay,
they are away
so
against the Titans.
I mean, it's not
weird.
A huge...
The away games are in red on the schedule. It seems kind of strange to me. Oh,
so
what was that?
I think.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, I could. I wonder if that's in the messages. So anyhow, I'm excited about the opener with Baltimore. We had thought maybe Cincinnati. We kept hearing that. We thought it was a very good chance for Sunday Night Football to begin.
Yeah.
Josh Allen was not on the Today Show.
No.
Today Show. He's busy
not.
Now. Isn't the wedding?
The wedding, I believe, is soon. Soon.
Like the end of the month, right?
I believe it is. I believe it's let me see. I don't know if it's a Sunday, actually. No, it's a Saturday. I believe it's that last weekend.
Yeah, the last weekend. So
I wonder if they're doing a brunch. Sorry.
Well, we'll find out because Dan, Jen, and I all got invited with plus ones. We'll all be there.
Naturally. Could you imagine?
Sorry, Josh. We didn't get you anything for your wedding. I think he's fine.
What would you get Josh Allen for a wedding gift? The man has everything. I would, if I were them, I'd be like, don't give a gift. It's fine.
Yeah,
they have a week 10 bye. The Bengals do.
Okay,
that doesn't matter. The Bills don't play them till week
late.
14.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I was just looking it up. I got sidetracked by what gift you would give.
It's funny because next year the schedule has impactful travel games at Denver, at Green Bay, at Minnesota.
This is next year.
What was the Vegas? Right. These are travel days that are not crushing, but they are farther, longer. Like, I mean, Miami's a good haul, and so's Houston, but they have those, and they will play 9 road games, right?
Yeah, because this year is 8.
Yes. So, and it's the first year in the new stadium and everything. So, I will say I do like the way the beginning of the schedule maps out for them. Baltimore is going to be a great game. First game, hopefully everybody's good, ready to go.
Ravens just re-signed Derrick Henry.
But you talk about you're getting the Jets week 2, new coach, new quarterback. The plus is, even though it's Baltimore in the first game, when it's a new coach and new quarterback and everything, you get them that opening game. Sometimes it's weird because you don't really know what they're going to do.
Oh, at least with this,
even yes. So this is it. So then you got Miami at home. Josh Allen owns the Dolphins.
Yeah.
New Orleans is going to struggle.
I will say, if you're going to have Thursday night football, I would rather have, I know they have another Thursday night football later in the season, but it's kind of, if you're going to have 2, I'd rather get 1 out of the way early.
And for the fans too, especially if you have season tickets and you go, the 2 home games, right? There's only 2 in
what do you,
no, I'm thinking 2 in September, 1 in early October, all of them night games in Orchard Park. That's elite weather time for us. September, October.
Oh yeah.
And they're night games, so we should, even into October, have really nice weather.
Yeah, agreed. I do look at the back half, like late November into December. I mean, at Pitt, obviously cold. Cincinnati and Buffalo, cold. At New England, cold. At Cleveland, cold. Hosting the Eagles, cold. Jets, cold. So like that back end will be cold.
Yeah.
But
yeah, more for
you
you guys shooting the game and fans sitting out in the stands. It's not. It's the players are used to it. That's kind of the way it goes. But I like the beginning and the end. Like, listen, there's a tough games thrown in there. Let's be honest. Based on what we know of these teams, and we're always surprised. Like, who would have thought Washington with a rookie quarterback was going to be that good last year? Not that the Bills are playing them. Like, sometimes you just don't know.
Teams can come out of nowhere, yeah.
But based on what we know about these teams, there's about 5 to, I'd say 6 difficult games on paper.
Yes, heading into the season in May.
And last year was more than that. And they had that stretch. And a lot of those, like we said, Houston and Baltimore were both on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Houston's on the road this year, and they had Kansas City at home. But, Cincinnati, Kansas City, Baltimore, Philly, Tampa, all in Orchard Park.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty nice.
So they gave them a pretty good schedule. Yeah.
There was a question. Oh, Bullseye asking, when are you guys picking your coverage of games? So the travel draft, we just got the list. Obviously, Dan and I both need to make our boards, the travel boards, and then we'll do our travel draft at some point later on.
Now, let's pretend Dan's not going to listen to this.
No, Dan will. I can't tip any picks.
Not to tip picks, but Dan is, you never know.
He does sometimes surprise me, which makes it hard.
GM who goes off the board sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, I agree.
But
he did something last year that I was shocked by.
Yeah. Remember? He went Baltimore number 1.
He did go but that's because I didn't know. Well, I figured he would take Seattle, but it was over his birthday weekend. So
yes.
Shout out Mike North and the NFL schedule makers who did that last year.
My birthday weekend is the Monday night game.
Yes, that is the Atlanta game.
And I always have a huge party and
oh
everything.
My God. Mike loves his birthday. Big birthday guy. It's actually your birthday year. I'm kidding.
Oh.
I'm saying like.
No, it's not a special number. It's just a big one because they all are. But.
What are you turning this year?
Something. I do love the prime time early. I will say this. I like it. I like it for them.
Yeah.
Especially with the teams they're playing. It's good to get Baltimore in there first week. They're just better than Miami. and to get them at home. And that's no matter how Drake May's doing, that's going to be a step up for them.
Yeah, definitely. You're going through the games. What is
Okay.
your record? Too early, too soon record prediction?
This won't count.
No, this does not count.
This won't count.
We're all friends here. We're all family here.
Honestly, I think the easy call to say is 12-5. I would say that's not going crazy.
I would
That's
say.
We always talk about it's not just who you play, but when you play them. But if
Oh.
I look at the way this maps out, I think they could get off to a really good start.
I mean, I think they could get off to it. I think there's a possibility they're undefeated heading into the Chiefs game. Like, I don't think that's crazy to say that either.
No, the Baltimore one's going to be super tough. Baltimore just lost the last home game was against Baltimore. I mean, they're going to want a little payback. Those teams are going to be very similar to what they were a year ago, certainly offensively. The Bills defense with a lot of maybe new faces out there.
Yeah.
They'll play well at the Jets, I think. This I don't know. We'll see how the Jets are this year. But I like them Miami, New Orleans, New England, at Atlanta. They're probably playing the kid there.
Yeah.
Carolina's probably going to be better. But I'm with you on that. That could be one of those years if they get off to that win in the first game, they run off a few. And then like when you look at this from that point on, obviously it's Kansas City. I don't even say at Miami. They play well at Miami.
And it's late enough in the year that weather shouldn't be a factor.
Tampa's going to be tough.
Yeah.
At Houston. At Pittsburgh, it depends. Listen, I don't like them, but if Rodgers is playing, they're a better team if he's there. Cincinnati will be tough. So that part is the tough part of the schedule.
Yeah.
But I just think this is a very, very manageable schedule for this team.
Agreed. All right, just going to the chat really quick.
Yep.
Man of War saying, my super whatever. Asking again, what are Jenna and Dan's favorite NFL teams? Because yours is the Eagles.
Yeah.
So as a sports reporter, I really root for players and storylines and all that stuff. Now I will say, obviously covering the Bills, it's been fun to see the ascension of the team and just how good they are, and obviously wanting them to go. So many fans want them to go to that next level. So I would say Dan and I both kind of feel the same way, where we root for, just seeing players succeed and the fun that comes along with that. And obviously it's really cool for us when the Bills do really great. So there's that. Also someone asked about my sweatshirt. I did not go to Colgate, but Zach went to Colgate. So Zach played football there, my fiance. So there's that. All right.
Zach played football.
Somebody asked. Gregory writes saying Chiefs 0-17. We can always hope, folks.
So
I think that's funny.
By the way, I wonder if any of the people in our chat are trying to be extras in the Bills Christmas movie.
Okay. I need to know how that works. You just go there and you have to wait all day?
Yeah, I think so.
That seems like such a commitment.
So at our TV station, years and years ago, before I was even thought of to work here, way back, they shot the movie Field of Dreams, and they shot part of it not Field of Dreams, The Natural. And when I say Field of Dreams,
Did Doug Embledge do this story?
Don Alhart.
Oh, is it Don?
So our news anchor, but at the time he was also doing this like morning show. They took busloads of people from here, and obviously there was Buffalo people, all to fill in the stadium in Buffalo. This is the old stadium, the old baseball stadium in Buffalo, to be extras in the movie. Why do I always want to say Field of Dreams? No, it's The Natural. Okay. So Robert Redford was the star, big star, and it rained the whole time. They couldn't do the scene. Gosh. So all the people got sent home.
That stinks.
They had this shot of Robert Redford coming out thanking everybody. They got back on their buses and came back.
Are you sure that wasn't Doug?
Oh no, it was
Okay,
Don. He was
okay.
there with Wanda Miller.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, it is.
But this
Okay,
is
yeah.
back. I mean, we're talking about.
Jay Satori said my dad was in that movie as an extra.
Oh, see, there we go.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you have tried out to be an extra in the Bills Hallmark movie, we want to hear from you. I'm just so
Did they already have it?
I don't know if it's coming up or what.
So wouldn't it have made sense? Not that we wanted it, or maybe you didn't want it, but wouldn't it have made sense to have the Bills playing on Christmas?
Yeah, I didn't even think of that.
Right?
Yeah, that's totally fair.
God, there is
You're
a
saying
lot of
you're saying Hallmark's fake.
all those stories. I just could never figure them out the whole way through. And then they always get together. It's wild.
Okay, I do love a good Hallmark movie. I can't lie.
Yeah. At some point I'm gonna look at everybody else's schedules to see. It is funny. The Chiefs play in that game in Brazil the first week. So that game's on that Friday, right? Because the Eagles and Packers did it last year.
Mhm.
So we'll have the opening game, Eagles and Cowboys. Friday, we have the Chiefs and
Chargers.
It's a good schedule.
Yeah.
And then Sunday, you've got the Bills and the Ravens. Monday is the Bears and the Vikings, I think, the first Monday night. So
Still, either way, that's a loaded.
Yeah.
You know, I'm kind of shocked, and I want to hear your thoughts on this, just because sometimes I feel like we've gone so long without football that they could really put any game in that first week, and it'd be like must see TV. I'm kind of surprised that they did such great games. Like, I'm not saying all of them, but I'm surprised.
Sometimes, in the past, the first game they were like, "Oh, we got to have this," and then I think the one year they put the Lions in there before the Lions had made the playoffs, but they were like a
ascending
up and coming team, which is why I thought it would be Eagles Bears. I thought that would have been a really good matchup. Instead, they decided to put a lousy franchise that hasn't made the championship game in 3 decades in the game against the Eagles, which is kind of embarrassing for them. But
yeah,
seriously,
I wasn't listening to you. I'm sorry.
I was making fun of the used to be America's team. They're not America's team.
No.
In what way?
Marketing.
Yeah. I mean, they do draw. There are people who go, I think, because a lot of the country doesn't like them, but they have a lot of fans.
Yeah, they certainly do.
And yeah, they have the longest drought of making the championship game in the NFC.
In terms of in the division,
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think is the biggest test for the Bills?
Here's what I think is going to happen in the division. I think the Jets and the Patriots are both going to be smarter, tougher, more legitimate teams.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where the top end is. I think May is talented and he's got some help. But, that's a step to take for him. And I don't know what Fields will do. I think both those teams will be pretty good. I think Miami's finishing in last place.
Wow.
I think it's listen, they've underachieved, and I think it's time for the Dolphins. Now we'll see how it plays out. But I think they're the ones who take the drop this year.
I was saying this though. I want them to be just mediocre.
Right.
Because I think Mike McDaniel.
You like that mediocre coaching.
I think he keeps them in purgatory, and I want them to stay there.
It really is the worst place to be. They've paid a quarterback and they're mediocre.
Yeah.
And who knows what's going to happen? They're going to trade Jalen Ramsey and who knows what happens with Tyreek Hill. The Jets, I just think, maybe they can start to actually build that team. They do have some talent.
They do
on the
have
team.
talent, yeah.
And New England, it's funny. New England's, getting a lot of positive pub beforehand.
Yeah. I always find
But I think they could be pretty good.
Yeah, I do as well. I don't know. We'll see. But I just was curious your thoughts on that. I
would say I think the division, like I said, is going to be better coached, better positioned for the future. But at the same time, I'm be honest with you, I really don't see any of those 3 teams challenging the Bills in the division. Maybe not as much as it went last year, but I think there's no question in my mind. It's the Bills to win. And I think they'll win it handily, still win the division handily.
I mean, I agree. Although I can't even say this with a straight face. Although the Patriots did beat the Bills in the last game of the season.
They did.
I saw someone say that as like,
cost them the number 1 overall pick.
I was like, ooh, interesting. Okay. Amy Beth Mallet saying, imagine opening the new stadium by hoisting a Super Bowl banner.
That would be awesome.
Chills. That would be
incredible.
Could you imagine?
Yeah. So I will tell you, here's what I think about the stadium, the closing and you've been a season ticket holder. Maybe you've been to more games at the Ralph than I have, but I've been to a lot of games there. I find that it'll be somewhat emotional for fans at some point. In all likelihood, it's a playoff game with the Bills. That's their last one. It could be the game that sends them to the Super Bowl, right?
Could you imagine?
So they play that game and they win and they go to the Super Bowl. As Jenna mentioned, I grew up my whole life with the Eagles. Their last game at Veterans Stadium was the NFC Championship game at home. They were very excited. I was excited. We all went with my family to the game, and they got rocked by the Bucs.
Ew.
And then they opened up the stadium the next year, the new stadium, and the Bucs came in and shut them out. Isn't that wild?
Oof.
The Bucs were the champs, and they opened on the road. But I think they were more interested in the rematch of the Super Bowl than they always had them as the home team. They came in and beat them like 17-0 or something, the first game at Lincoln Financial Field.
Wow.
Which is kind of wild. So
yeah,
I think the emotion of the stadium, hopefully for the Bills, the last game is a celebration. They're going to the Super Bowl, or they win and then they go somewhere else the next week and go to the Super Bowl. And then they, like you said, they open it up where it's the unveiling of the banner. I think outside, somebody was talking about the TV market and what people would think that last game. I do not think for people outside of Buffalo, the last game at the stadium is a big deal. It's more of them would be interested in seeing what the new stadium looks like.
Yeah.
Because they've seen the stadium in Buffalo hundreds of times. So many of them have been there. I think it's more for fans of other teams to be like, oh, here's their cool new stadium.
I agree. I think it's way more sentimental for.
Let me tell you when it's sentimental.
Fans.
It's sentimental when that place goes.
It's weird to think about.
It just happens, and it's like, wow. Like I spent a lot of time in that place, and now it's they take it out. That'll be at some point.
I would say, that's down the road.
After you take everything out and sell it. It's like a big garage sale. Seats, urinals from the Ralph.
The trough.
Yeah.
Would you like to own a piece of the trough?
Yeah, no.
No.
The answer
that
is
should be
no.
studied for science.
So to finish out here on the schedule, when we wrote down and you and I talked about stuff beforehand. Opening night's awesome.
Yeah.
Primetime games, great. 5 of them. Good weather, early games, fantastic. Only twice do they play back-to-back road games, which is great. Toughest stretch is that one in the middle, KC, Miami, Tampa, Houston. That's decent. Last home game is against the Jets. That is fitting. Like I said, this is a very good schedule for this team. Is the way I look at it.
I agree. The way it sets up, it does not sound as daunting as when you read all the opponents earlier on of, okay, you have Baltimore, you have Kansas City, you have Houston, even like looking at it now, the Bengals, the Eagles, everything is spaced out well.
Yeah, it is. It is. So again, we see, hey, somebody was saying, I heard him saying like, hey, that first game, eventually that could mean something in terms of first place or home, because the Bills ended up home against Baltimore last year, but they lost to Baltimore in the first month of the season.
Yeah.
And then caught them and passed them.
Yeah.
And ended up ahead of them, which was a
big
major thing for them to go to the AFC Championship game last year. So while it's great to get that win and have that in your back pocket, I know a few years back they beat the Chiefs early and the Chiefs still ended up with the home field advantage. So,
Yeah.
by the way, this will make you feel better. I think next year they play the Chiefs again, and again the Chiefs have to come to Orchard Park. And maybe they come to Orchard Park this year for the playoffs.
Yeah. I just hate going there so much.
Yeah. Tired of going to Kansas City.
Yeah.
And the road trips, like I said, are good
Yeah.
for this team. So
Okay. All right. Anything else?
I don't think so. Couple of things. We are going to have, and it should be out Friday morning, where we break down the offense, where they are now. We did the defense already. You can check that out on the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel. And then we will do the same with the offense, go through position by position. Less changes, but, players are a year older, the wide receivers to talk about, a lot of interesting decisions to be made in the near future on the offense that I think too.
Definitely.
So that's what we'll be talking about. Expect that to come out, I would say Friday morning, probably, right?
Yeah, I would imagine so.
Yep.
We're going to be potting tomorrow about it. And
then next week it's Pilates time. Do you do this in Pilates? What do you do?
No, that's more yoga. That's more like namaste.
Namaste.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mike may not stay.
I was talking to my girl Alex today. She was asking me, she's like, how formal is this? I was like, this is not formal at all.
It's very formal, Alex.
I was like, no. This is not. This is fun. This is going to be very fun for me.
She's going to say, this is what you do. And I'm going to go, no, it isn't.
I cannot wait. Yeah. So that's next week. We're going to have a lot of fun. So we have the video coming out on Friday about the offense, the Pilates video coming out soon. And then we'll have the travel draft. That'll be later on in the summer. Plenty more Bills content. We are always talking about the Bills. And if not that, humiliating Mike and Dan.
It'll be me, and the kids will love it. They'll be like, ooh, look at Mike. And I just want to
jump in and do some
I just
stuff.
want it on the record that, my punishments were very benign.
What were your punishments?
My punishment was you had to sit in the back seat of the car.
I do that anyways.
No, you don't.
I do not. Yeah.
Yeah. When the three of us are in the car, they're like, get in the back seat.
Well, I use a mirror because I do my makeup.
Oh, please. Yeah. That takes an hour and a half. And then Dan's was like, catch a punt. Jenna's like, I'm going to punish you with Pilates.
Okay. Didn't Dan say he thinks he could catch 4 punts or
whatever
something?
he talks. Yeah. He talks, but that was his punishment. So
I forgot about that.
Wait till we come up with the punishments for next year.
I don't know. Ooh, yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for joining. Please be sure to comment, subscribe and like.
Ooh. Yeah. Somebody said, you guys always say like, comment, subscribe. So see, we can change it up.
We are, we can evolve.
We're crazy.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. For Mike Catalana and Dan Fates, who's not here, I'm Jenna Cottrell. Thank you so much. Again, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. We always appreciate it. The Bills schedule is out. We'll have plenty more Bills coverage as we get closer to the start of training camp. For now, thanks for watching. Buffalo Plus presented by Connors and Ferris. Woo. Bye, y'all. Can't find the...
Oh, she can't find.
I can't find. Oh, bye, everyone.